Have you ever been scrolling Instagram or reading a founder story and thought, oh, she's so lucky? I'm Alicia Mafadia, and I want to welcome you to She Got Lucky, where luck is just the beginning. After building 3 global brands, creating next level wealth through my social media, and being announced as Instagram's first Reels Pro, I know that there's a lot more than luck to getting started, and that with the right strategy, mindset, and drive, almost anyone can create a business that feels too good to be true or too fun to be considered work. In this podcast, we explore the stories of women who've made their mark, not just by chance, but through trust, resilience, and a belief in their capabilities. We'll dive into the actual strategies, stories, and secrets of success. So, if you're ready to chase your dreams, and instead of wondering how she did it, make it happen for yourself, tune in and let's redefine what it means to be lucky in the world of business. In today's episode, I want to dive into a very big problem that a lot of us have created for ourselves on social media, and a very big thing that we need to stop doing. There are a few words that have been thrown around more times than I can count, and I want to actually break these down with you today in today's episode. So the biggest ones that I've heard so much overused, and they're just so vague and don't really actually go into what this entails, is being authentic. Create content where you're authentic. Create content where you are genuine. So being authentic and being genuine. The tip to be authentic has been thrown around on every social media platform and by so many experts. Heck, I'm sure I, at some point or another, have put it in one of my reels as well. But I want to dive into this a little bit more today because there's 2 components that have really stood out. First of all, be authentic. What does that even mean? Be yourself. What does that mean? What does that look like? It's such a vague concept. It's such a vague tip that I feel like it's been really lost in the process. And the impact it can have has been lost as well. So being yourself is one thing, but creating authentic content, for me, I have seen in the past, it's been a little bit of a slippery slope. And I want to dive into what I mean by this. If you've got this approach, I want to be authentic, I want to be liked, I want to be relatable, it can be really easy to fall into the trap of creating content that rather than positions you as a leader, positions you as the one, instead positions you as someone who is more friend zoned. If you're currently posting to Instagram, you're showing up on stories, you're showing up regularly, you're being consistent, you're doing technically all the things, but you're not seeing the results you want, then perhaps you have fallen into the trap of friend zoning your audience. And this is what I want to dive into and explore with you on today's episode of She Got Lucky. Last year, I had a bit of a wake-up call. It was a pretty big wake-up call. And it took a little bit of time to realize what my own block was, despite the fact that I was picking up on it with my clients. And this is a block that really does stem from a part of us inside who wants to be validated, who wants to fit in, who wants that social approval in a sense. And it's easier to show up online and be that likable person than it is to show up online and potentially be cancelled, potentially get comments against us, turn people off us. That is scary. So what we can do is we can easily fall into the trap of creating content that we know our audience is going to like, but not in the way we want. So it's super important, yes, that we build that trust with our audience so that we can warm them up and then they can become our clients, that they can buy from us. But it's really important that we don't let that be everything. Because what I mean by friend zoning, and this is something that I've done and this is something that I can absolutely promise you, I just did an Instagram audit of about 20 accounts and 80% of them need to get out of the friend zone. And so many people don't even realize they're in the friend zone, right? When I was deep in it, I didn't realize it really does require you to step back and have that awareness and get yourself out of it. Change what you're posting, change the way you show up, change your content strategy. So, friend zoning, what the heck is it? This is when we're creating content that allows us to inspire people, motivate them. It allows that content, where people are like, oh, love this. This is what I needed to hear. Thank you. Right? It's that inspirational content. It's that motivating content, even some mindset content, but it does not activate. It doesn't activate them to take action. It doesn't activate them to work with you and know that you're the one they need. Friend zoning content is great, okay? Because everything seems to look like it's working based on our Instagram stats, based on engagement. We feel like we're building a really beautiful community. But the problem is just because you're building a community doesn't mean people are going to want to buy from you. Doesn't mean that people are going to be like, yep, oh, cool, new offer? Cool, yeah, I'm in. Okay? There's a difference between a community that likes you and a community who wants everything you're offering because they know that you're the one for them, and whatever you're launching, whatever you're creating, they want in because it's you. There's a big difference. Now, before we talk through how to get out of the friend zone, I want to talk about the content that gets you in the friend zone, because chances are you might be making it now, or you might think, oh, I had plans to make something like that or whatever, right? Yes, friend zoning content, like there is a part of our content strategy that needs to get people to trust us, that needs to allow people to see they can trust us and we are likable. But friend zoning content can look like inspirational audios and we match it with a montage. So it's sort of, what's one here? I've got one here. Let me play this.
Version of you will not look like somebody else. You can train the same, eat the same, act the same, and you're never going to be exactly like somebody else. And that's your power. That's your power. It's that no matter what, you're you.
So this was this inspirational audio and it fitted really well because this was the message that I showed up. I was like, okay, I want to post today. The message that my person needs to hear today is that they get to be themselves. They get to bring out what's unique to them, and that is their power, right? When they can really connect back with that, they remember, they see their power, and that's where they can build this incredible momentum that feels like them. So I wanted to share this. But the problem is that I had this inspirational audio. I matched it with images and videos from my own journey. And I had that message, and that message led back to introduce yourself below. So yes, it was allowing me to connect with new people, but the response was, yeah, heck yes, love this, inspiring me forever, keep being you, doing you, and then had people introducing themselves. Does that type of content get my dream client off their chair and be like, oh, yes, I need to get my power back and I know you're the one I need to do that? No, it doesn't, right? So that's sort of a really easy one. There's so many inspirational audios and it's so easy to even use the templates on Instagram, on CapCut for TikTok. It's so easy to just put some images or videos of your journey, match it to the inspirational audio, boom, cool, what a good piece of content. It's also really easy to create this sort of content again and again with these inspirational messages. But if it doesn't activate people to take action, they're never going to see results. They're never going to see that, hey, you're the one I need. In fact, you may just be inspiring them up to go find somebody else who clearly can help them with what they need. Because think about it. If somebody sees your reel, your inspirational reel, and they're not following you, they've never seen you before, that inspirational piece of content gets them in your world. So they're seeing you for the first time. They have no idea that you're a coach or you offer a service or you have what they need. They have no idea. And what's worse is if they do click on your name and they do have a look at your latest content, yes, it may inspire them. Yes, they may like it. But if it is not abundantly clear on what you do, what transformation you help people achieve, they're not going to convert. This is where we need to change this. This is where our content, it might be fun, it might be relatable. You know, the relatable, funny memes that we post, and they tend to go really well because people can relate to them. Being relatable should not be your goal. If your goal, or if your content strategy, Instagram strategy, whatever, if it has a large portion of it to be relatable, then we've got a problem. Especially if people are looking to you as the expert, because there is something in you as the expert that they don't have and they want. So it's this real big balance, because when people can relate to elements of us, when people can relate to us, then they're more likely to like us, trust us, and, lean towards us. But the problem is if we lose that authority, if we lose that, that position of we are the ones, because we're trying to pull ourselves down from looking down on them to be relatable, if we're trying to adjust our stance and in fact sort of be on that same level as them, then why are they going to choose you as the expert they need, right? This is the thing, is being authentic, inspiring, telling your story, being relatable has become a real issue that is blocking conversions. That builds virality, sure, it builds views, but it does not build conversions, because the key aspect that you need to get out of this friend zone, right? So that sort of content gets you into the friend zone. Being relatable. Relatable means funny audios, inspiring stories, telling your story constantly. That stuff gets you into the friend zone. But what gets you out of the friend zone, or what keeps you out of the friend zone, is social proof that you can deliver on the transformation, your own results, your own expertise. I can't tell you, when I was doing an Instagram audit the other day, there was somebody, I was looking at her, she has a course, and I thought, okay, cool, but if I'm being honest, I can't see why you're the expert I need to learn from. You sort of look like you're on the same level, in the sense, her messaging positioned herself to be a beginner as well. She learned it from scratch and she's done this journey as well. And it was only when I spent about 3 minutes going through things that I found that she was actually a champion of something. So she'd done this competition and she had won a championship in what she was teaching. And instantly that just flicked the switch. I saw her in a different light. And that sort of thing, despite her sharing it at one point, it took me 3 minutes to figure that out as somebody who'd just come across her account. So these things that make us the expert, we need to continue sharing. We can reframe it, we can rephrase it, but we need to keep sharing why we're the expert. Those bits of social proof, those awards, the studies, the things that we've done to make us the expert, why us, we need to keep sharing. The other key component is the value, the educational piece. What little bits of value can you give through your content that allow people to see an insight into what it would be like to work with you? If you're an online service provider and you offer a service, right? Take them through a little bit that makes them think, oh, okay, wow, you really know your shit. Okay, all right, far out. If you then combine that with some transformation content, you're like, wow, that's what you achieved. You know your shit, and you can achieve that for me. That is loading you up for conversions. Alternatively, if you have a course or if you have a coaching program and you are sharing the transformation you've offered, it might be your own transformation because you may have been in their position at one point or another, but you got out of it, and here's how you got out of it. Here's how you changed it. Here's what you did. You're sharing your process. You're sharing the steps that changed this. And then if you load that up with the educational piece, here's what I did to change this to this. Here's what I did to have my first 20K month. Here's what I did to get back 10 hours of my week. The one thing that changed my business forever in the best way possible. These sort of statements are going to really help you to position yourself as the one, and people are going to come running. And if you can power that up with getting really specific who the one is that you're trying to help and how you help them, then out of the friend zone you are and into the DMs, into the conversions, into the buy now, and into your programs. And this is the power of it. So wherever you are, whether you are figuring out what the heck to post for content, whether you have been on a bit of a lull and you're trying to get back into it, whether you are absolutely in the friend zone or you are converting like crazy, have a moment, take a moment. Where are you now? What do you need to do to get to that position, right, where you have a really engaged, hot audience who are going to buy from you on repeat because you are you and they know that. All right, if you love this episode, which I hope you did, maybe you're looking at yourself and you're like, eek, I feel seen. I need to change some things. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing, right? But I want to know where you are at after listening to this, okay? Share on your story, share where you're listening, and then let me know where you're at. Now, before we finish today, I want to really remind you that this podcast is so much more than just one person's success. It's just so much more than just how someone built luck. This is more about diving deep and revealing these understandings. And if you're liking what you're hearing, please jump on in and give the podcast a review. It takes 2 seconds and it means so much. That's it from me today, and I will see you in the next episode.